I think he's like a count. Right, and so-
Yeah. It's so with all the work session in order and everybody got their agenda before them, so the top and ask chief maintenance. Get this all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you for having me this evening. I'm sure everybody's seen the significant call for service, but just a recap for everyone, in case there's any questions. We responded to a vehicle break-in down here at the boat landing, where several $1,000s worth of property was stolen out of the vehicle. We were able to develop a suspect, and we worked with ACPD detectives and were able to apprehend the suspect and actually recovered a number of the items that had been taken from the vehicle. There are still several pieces of property that have not been recovered, but the individual suspect started with 2 felonies and he's still in jail. Everyone probably has heard that there was a vehicle pursuit that originated out of Buckingham coming through the town. That suspect was apprehended in the city of Scottsville. Our officers conducted 2 different traffic stops this past month that resulted in DUI arrests. One of the vehicles did flee the officer, but was later apprehended when they crashed the car at a different location. Pursuit ended. You can see the charges: felony eluding, DUI, refusal, reckless driving, not without a license. We assisted ACPD with the DUA on Irish Road. We also assisted ACPD with a family domestic. Learned that one of the parties was having a mental health crisis. They were taken to CPAC. ACPD one Saturday morning, about right before 6:00 a.m., responded to a pedestrian that was struck on human crosswalk at Lucky's on Saturday morning. No injuries were reported, but the officer was charged. And I still continue to work with management at the NBC at the El Festival Mexican restaurant regarding the underage alcohol complaints and noise complaints. Community engagements. We participated in the roundup event at the market. It was during the entire month of May. Market will be presenting the Police Foundation tomorrow at 12:30 at the police department with a check. I believe that they raised $3,000 on behalf of the Police Foundation, which was pretty good. So that check will be presented for the foundation tomorrow. We assisted with the music and merriment event in the town Saturday before that. We also participated in the Memorial Day event at the Farmers Market. Auxiliary officers donated 115.5 hours of their time to the town last month. And you can see the net savings to the town where they're participating in police operations here in the town. We also hosted the final July 4th planning event, meeting event here at Hickory Hall. Went well. Looks like all of our security measures were in place for that day, so we're hoping that that's going to be a safe day for everybody. Conditional offer of employment has been offered and accepted by Eric Jacobson. He has successfully thus far completed his polygraph and psychological exam. He's now scheduled for his medical screens June the 16th. And I hope to have him hired, if everything goes okay, by the end of June, so we can get him equipped and ready to go to the academy July 7th. New police vehicle was picked up in South Carolina and delivered to Brooks Communications for its build out. And there were no P-card purchases during the month. And everyone can see the department's statistics for the month. Not sure if there are any questions.
Chief, go ahead. I was going to ask you, just as you think of the river this summer, sometimes we've had good years and we've had more disruptive years. How does our law enforcement ties with other agencies look for the river this year?
Well, we had been asked to pay down on the river with ACPD, doing the floating on the river, but with us being short of sponsor, we can't afford to send somebody out there. ACPD bridge program. On the river itself, the game department still spends a lot of time down here, at the boat ramp with us. Things so far, knock on wood, seem to be on par with last 2 years. Forecast any issues, I think it's gonna be okay. I wish I had my crystal ball to be able to tell you 100%, but, I think our game department partners are constantly down here patrolling the ramp along with us, so. I think it's going to be good.
Good.
Thank you.
Is Mr. Davidson, go off and report?
Yes, sir.
Seems to be right short.
Yes, sir. I'm hoping that everything goes okay with his medical and drug testing, and we'll be able to bring him on at the end of June and get that process.
Any other questions for GG? I so much appreciate all you and your department. What's that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you have something to expand, you want to tell us about?
Yes, sorry for that. I don't know where to go.
There, here, where you're going.
Oh, this is okay, this is fine. I just wanted to mention that we just held the music environment, just the first one. To commemorate Mary Hardy, who was the founder. I think I saw you in a video with the Mary Hardy family band,
I was in the zoo band.
and you were in the kazoo band, so.
But I got to play with the family, the Hardy family, and two stuff.
Good. I was out of town, but they were sending me videos.
Really great.
It did look like fun. It's the inaugural of a pilot, and we hope to continue that every year as a event and a fundraiser for SCAN, same time. This year was an event.
May think about something besides the drums, people behind playing for the police department.
I'll mention that, all right. And then we have like off in July, sort of, but the next thing will be a playwright festival in August, I think, very August, called Summer Shorts. 7 plays, I think, and his wife is Courtney is one of the ones that's chosen. Looking forward to that. And I don't have anything else right now, except I do want to connect on the 2 things for SCAN. One is the mold that's in the closet near the green room that Javier has put into the budget for you all. So can you direct me of where and who can we get that fixed? It's been almost a year. Because he went back and forth with the insurance, they said no, you appealed. Yes, and then no.
I answer that question, maybe, I'll be can, don't need more about that, just gotta.
It's from what I'm sorry.
I'll put it on my list. I have a list of questions to send to Javier, so.
Well, I think at this point, it's a matter of somebody, you have the money, it's getting somebody to fix the mold.
Yeah, I just don't know if he had someone come look at it, if he
Yeah.
has like 3 estimates or. I just have to find them.
Okay. I thought we were closer than that, so can I just follow up with you maybe next week? I know you have a list, but we feel like we've been working through the system for 10 months now, so I'll get it done. And the other one is a meeting for the looking at the weekly hobbies for next year. I think we have you, and so how do I make the meeting happen? Let's to get started.
Pick a day on go.
Okay. Well, I don't know your schedules, you working, not working,
I work, so
evenings or,
evenings would work best, but. Whatever, let's talk to you.
so like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock?
Like 6 o'clock, like,
6,
or Monday or Friday, one of those days. Here's a day after. 5.
you want to start next Monday, or you want to wait till July? I just don't want things to get pushed out and then we're there and. We could. Yeah, go on. I had a bunch of travel, I was in New York for a visit, my brother fell, ended up in the hospital. Whereas you were in the hospital 4 days, rehab.
See, the last day of the month is Monday, isn't it? Third,
23rd is a Monday, and then I'll be out of town again.
Any-
Are you good 23rd? Because then we start getting into 4th of July and
yeah, I'm not faithful, but
on the
if
23rd.
it has to be evening, I could.
Well, next week.
That's all, so that you know, we can figure it out.
Okay, I'm trying, like,
You're busy on Monday, night,
yes,
but the council meeting, they're on Monday night.
sounds good.
Yeah. Thanks.
Y'all have any questions for Stan or?
Javier is actually answering me on the mold right now, so I will let you know after the meeting what's going on.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, let's walk. Ready,
Yes, sir.
how you?
Doing pretty good. Had quite a few things since our last meeting, or since I was able to attend our last meeting. We had the Chamber Cheers event down at the tavern, or the brewery. That went well. We have another one set up here for the end of June. And then that one's gonna be at Hardware Hills, so we'll be sending out stuff on Facebook, a little flyer about it, so you can put it on the calendar if you want to come and hang out with some of the business owners, just to network, get to know everybody. And assisted with Fridays at the Canal, that was a big success. We assisted on getting the fire department set up down there to sell water, and I think they did really well as far as getting donations in the booth. And speaking of the fire department, I went and spoke with at their monthly meeting as far as understanding that they're going through and being reduced down, and make sure they understood that we were appreciative of their services here in town, and wanted to work with them on getting them more recruits and more funding for whatever they need to do, and get them more involved with the community. If they're doing less calls because of the new department, maybe they can help out with some more events and still be active in the community and fill that niche of feeling like an organized group. I then also attended the Alamo County Board of Supervisors meeting, and relayed a message to them that I wanted to try and work with them and be a mediator maybe between them and the fire department, to see if they could, because fire department is willing to work with volunteers, are willing to work with the Alamo County fire department. I just think there's a little bit of bad blood with certain people, and so trying to bridge that gap and make myself available to both parties to hopefully get them on better terms and maybe working together a little bit instead of just butting heads and trying to point out the negatives on each other. Other than that, we got the holiday market squared away, almost squared away, but it's happening on the 4th of July. Since 4th of July is on a Friday this year, we will be doing the market, holiday market in the morning. Believe 8 o'clock. Everybody's still good as long as they're also, the roads are also open till like 8:30 or so.
Roads on July 4th will close at 8:40 sharp.
Okay, yeah, so we are asking everybody to be in by 8, so, but there's always some stragglers, but. So we're getting that going, and then it seems like a lot of vendors want to stay all day, so that's gonna be most of the day going on down there. That's what we're working on, getting that together. We have our next board meeting tomorrow morning, and hopefully have T's crossed and I's dotted after that. We're also working on the wine festival coming up in October. We're working on getting sponsors for that right now, so that's still happening, and we're making good progress on that, and feel like it's gonna go well. So, any questions? Did I miss anything?
Thank you.
One question.
Yes, sir.
Curious when you're around. Does the chamber do the banner down here?
Oh, the bridge meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me and Jack and Jam and
Yeah.
Ben from Mr. Z, so it's a.
It's a juggling contest coming up here, right? With the bathtub Fridays.
It's gonna be a little
Okay.
a little bit of quick turn. The
Okay.
Bathtub Festival banner will not work. We actually went to go put that banner up. The one that they had is just like our holiday happenings banner from last year, that we learned quickly that was not gonna work so well. So I informed him of that, and we got permission to put it up here at the same place where your sign is. I talked to Will, we might ask you to move the sign, your mobile sign down to the
I was there first.
But we, just for the day, when it comes down time for the Bath Coat Festival, so we have some, people get some idea where to pull in.
So what do you want?
Anywhere near the entrance to the boat landing, wherever is appropriate that you would think.
And what do you want put on it?
Today, same thing you have on there, Bath Coat Festival today. Here, something.
When do you want it moved?
Oh, no time on it, but I'd like to have it down there for the day of the festival.
Okay.
Yeah. We put our sign up there because it wouldn't, we pulled up to the banner and it's like, oh, this isn't gonna work. So
Mine's a little more expensive than that one.
that's why I'm asking for you to move yours to get the important one down here.
Yeah, it's been vandalized once.
Not by me.
I'll get it taken care of.
Thank you, Greg. As far as the 4th of July banner, I have not seen or heard of that. But I've not put that one up, but I'm happy to help. I have rebuilt the poles. They are a lot safer, a lot stronger now. And so I'm sure they're in the bateau or something like that.
What is it?
The 4th of July banner goes across. Is there one that goes across, or we just put it up here?
That's fire.
Okay, I'll catch up with you. Yep.
Okay, really, it's on with this subject, and look on Saturday, you could go. See how many people are in the market, and then. Whether or not it'll like this Saturday today for us, and it's probably there. So. I'm supposing there's not a farmer's market report, right? They are read.
I was unable to attend, I got my dates mixed up and that was on me, but I know we're doing inventory here this month, I believe. Melanie, do you have any a synopsis of the ARVP?
It was exactly 7 minutes.
9
9 minutes.
9 minutes to be precise.
They are, they did talk about the inventory and starting it probably later on in July.
The fellow that bought the house on Wall, when he's gonna demolish it, so you have to go through the deal that. Have you heard about that?
I have not.
The vacant house on the Baldwin for some time now, it's in very bad shape, the gentleman who's bought it, to demolishing the house. So,
That's not part of the historical district, right? Or is it?
it's. There's an email from him recently.
Is it within the historic district?
That's like right on the edge of it.
Is it within the historic district?
It's right up the,
Say.
The historic district would be what would be considered an old town limit before this.
It's right up
Runs
behind,
Sorry, Frank.
is that right behind the Dollar General?
My parents' house.
Is that right behind the Dollar General?
Yeah, follow it.
Yeah.
We'll get it straight.
And then Melody, I have come and meet you here at some point during the week and have you pull up some past ARV stuff.
Sure.
All right, the plan commission didn't meet, but we have anything else.
We did not, Mr. Mayor.
Shannon is now. Health planning commission as a name of month, we do more meetings so that. Wait till next month, then, like, you know, see us a couple of names from the council to. Consider a replacement. Like this. Mr. Hyson is downtown. Where, here's the choice. Everyone, he's on.
I hope he does time that loves him.
Yeah, they don't, well, he would have part of the reparation too, ourselves. Anything on the emergency preparedness?
We haven't had a meeting yet, we're trying to get one set up sometime soon. I have reached out to all the members of the EPC and waiting to hear back from them. And just like I said, just trying to figure out everything going on with it, but as of now, nothing new. just pretty much the same. Jack does have a new idea coming up for, and that, we haven't discussed any.
Old Greg, I appreciate it, and let us know there was some nasty weather this morning, that was yesterday, and I don't want to say, what nasty with the clouds, what do you, they do, all that, like, move out. Yeah. That's too many.
Next 30 days, big time in Scottsville. I was spoken with the folks for the first one coming up to Baton. Spoken with the organizers for that. It went to in track down by the river. 3 bands lined up, 3 musical acts lined up. Porta potties are going to be piggybacking off the Reland, good folks at Reland and Raffic. We're helping sponsor off at the Jake River baptism, I think. So a lot of good organizers, and should be a great backhoe festival. Folks coming in Wednesday, at 3 o'clock, like they always do. And rain forecast is only about 20% at this point, so.
Break the 5-year streak, maybe.
We'll see, as long as that thunderstorm can. But everything seems to be going well, I'm on track for that, vendors lined up, everything. Next one, of course, is on Fridays at 5. I know I sent a couple emails because some of the organizers were asking me with town administrator being out and being able to write checks and things like that off of the donations, and I believe Melody and you were able to get good communication.
I haven't gotten her up to the bank yet to getting ready for the meeting tonight. And that would do a great job, and we haven't got able to have the opportunity to get out there, we will.
Right, they just wanted to make sure they could access funds, not go in their own pockets.
I'll be around.
Silly things like toilet paper and other stuff. So all that is being worked out, and the sponsors and the organizers are great. So we look forward to another one of those. And then of course, at the end of July. So like organizations going on with the events and everything on track as usual. So busy 30 days.
Good. Any questions for us? Adam, Assistant Treasurer, do you have anything you want to talk about now, or just wait till we get into the budget?
Just wait till we get in the budget.
My report is rather brief. I Chief Jenkins attended the VFW Memorial Service, and I laid a place to brief on behalf of the town. Had a couple of meetings in person, with Facebook. For next year, some people around town, but they get it, with any questions you might have. Actually met our ABC, agent, we really got today, his name's Michael. I had heard his name, I had a chance to meet him, so we talked about different things and how everything is. For these events, it's all up and like it should be, so don't anything to worry about there. That's something else. And instructed me at the last meeting about the town administrator, I'm gonna do some of that, so I've been in the office every day, it's just still probably. We're struggling through it, but hopefully in less than a month, we will have some more, professionals. Any questions? Mr. Foley is feeling under the weather. He talks about blood yesterday, so he's not here in person. And Melody, do you have anything that would qualify under town administrator report?
Um,
And who was the gentleman this afternoon? The gentleman came in this afternoon, his business license had lapsed, so he took care of that.
Chimera Supply, he's the gentleman that's over here beside the embroidery building.
Okay,
That the building is for sale
Yeah.
next door.
all right.
I've
seen him around.
Yeah. I did look up the mold. That's, I was been going back and forth with Javier. We do have a estimate. All we have to do, if the money is in the 25-26 budget. So we can go ahead and have them do the mold remediation. All we have to do is sign the contract and send it back,
How much is it?
$2,900. The highest bid came in at 10,000.
Alright. No, any questions for anybody?
Mayor, I do have a question, thanks, what Chief Gibson was saying, if everything goes, okay with the officer, we would like to try to get the officer in. By the beginning of July, is there anything that the town needs to do to, council needs to do to speed that up, because next time we meet. Will be way past the 7th, which will be, for the start, I mean, do we need to. Do anything, anything, or will y'all be able to bring him in or what, because if we were gonna start the academy on the 7th, we won't meet next month until.
Meeting like this, so.
I didn't know if there's something that we need to say.
No, we don't have to approve his fire,
Okay,
he's got an open slot.
I just wanna make sure, you know, if we've got nothing we can do to help him out, because our next meeting after that will be the 14th, which will be exactly a week after the 7th.
We've conducted interviews with several people and given our opinion, and it's looks like he can make good. So, chief is free to hire or pull fire.
We should be good to go. No problem.
Need it and let us know.
Yes, sir, I will.
One of the new topics, one of the things that's been ongoing here for years is parking. We've had parking restrictions, we've had no parking restrictions, we've had. I think one problem is maybe there are lots, so nobody ever parks behind the sign. The mountain thing, unless it's like what we know. I go there to see the chief and there's hardly any cars, maybe another car in the lot. People don't know that lot's there. It's one lot. Talking to Mr. Bowling, you know, we don't have the resources to hire somebody to monitor the parking. Pay them to do that and go through the court process of dealing with tickets. And so it's one of those things we sort of need to think about, is it something we can do something about? Maybe we can, maybe we can't. So what I was gonna suggest, Mr. Heiss was not here tonight, maybe his committee could come up with some suggestions.
Mayor, may I speak to that?
Not tonight. Come back.
That's what I was told to come back tonight, for the last 2 months.
You've been speaking about it every time we get together.
No, but I had
No public comment tonight, okay, George?
it's in the ordinance.
When. Bill gets back, which should be local. Whatever, what do you think about asking Bill to look at some plans? And the plans, what their suggestions they might have on parking. It's not an easy fix, but it's not all we can do fix it. See, it's something else.
Well, I don't know what the recommendations are. I know at one point we had talked 2-hour parking with that part. I know we took away the 2-hour parking sign because then in front of the Bateau restaurant, because it was only one sign. It's not the enforcement part of it that's, I guess, so bad. It's just like we had talked about early on when I started working with government servicing council about the parking in the town, especially on Valley Street, Lindsay Street, some of the East Main Street parking lot, parking along the streets. The signs have to be consistent, so residents know what the expectations of council is. The one sign didn't meet the, the standard because it was one sign. If town council wanted to put 2-hour parking in a certain section, one on this end, one on this end, it clearly marks and designates 2-hour parking, then it would be enforceable. But I guess my question is, You can't mark tires with chalk tires anymore, so how do you actually track the 2 hours in the parking area? That being the first challenge. Loading zones have always been a challenge. Police department is very mindful of the challenge that our businesses has in the town as far as unloading merchandise and stuff like that, so. The suppliers really do try to be mindful of where they're parking at in the town. We've pretty much got it under control. We give them a lot of grace when we see that they're unloading merchandise on businesses and stuff, so. Lindsay Street's one of those streets where if council will reflect back and remember, council decided that there would be no parking in Lindsay Street, period. For anyone, because of the challenges that some of our residents have to access that area back there. So we don't give anyone grace in Lindsay Street, Valley Street does. Is there a need for maybe a loading zone? Yes, maybe. But how do you regulate it? Some of the businesses open up and have deliveries early in the morning. So do you have specific times from 7 to 9? I'm just throwing ideas out. 7 to 9 a.m. We designate a loading zone on Valley Street, or maybe one on the north end of the street. I'm not sure. Due to times in the evening, some of our businesses have deliveries in the evenings. So do we say 3 to 5 o'clock, 2 hours in the evening? This is designated as a loading zone for businesses. I'm not sure what the council's desire would be.
Probably know, we know what all loading zones, which you can't give all everything, it's loading zone, and they all work for us. So. We can do all loading zones, so,
What you can do is with the loading zone, we can, like I said, check into it. The loading zone is a good idea. I mean, it falls back to, we got people that come up and complain to us that why can't a business is paying got, well, first of all. It's hard to have a business if you can't get your supply. So, yeah, I think it's a good idea if we have a loading zone. If we would have had 2 or 3 loading zones in town, Scottsville. That may be easy to afford. Now, a bunch of parking elsewhere, whatever, I know a lot of times, I see loading zone time, 10-minute parking maximum, loading zone from 9 to 5, or whatever, designated time. So, yeah, if you drive by, you see, yeah, that's probably there, and you come back 15 minutes later, that car is still there, okay, yeah, we could do something. Maybe we could, find some strategic places for loading zones, so that way it's truck. Let's say you have one across the street, you can park right there, that would give them access to the beef place, the Chinese food restaurant and whatever building. Maybe another loading zone down there, which could go to, those buildings, and maybe one down there. Yeah, truck driver, you might have to walk a little bit extra, but hey, if we give them a loading zone, they can use it. Instead of telling the guy, well, yeah, you're gonna have to park way down there near the pavilion or come up here or whatever. We can put 2 or 3. I don't think it's a bad idea, but like I said, I don't know how you wanna, I don't know how time consuming or it would be for somebody to ride by.
One of the things I was just thinking about, thank you for sharing that, is one of the blessings and curses of small towns. Issues like this are always around. And I wonder, one of the things, Chief, when we have this from you, it'd be helpful for us. Maybe we already have it on some forums, but to start to develop the data that says, we know, for example, certain businesses, Mondays, this is their time, or Tuesdays, this is their busy time. The issue of parking it's not a 24-hour issue. It's not, in other words, in some aspects of us understanding this, part of it is to understand, generally speaking, it's busy at lunchtime, it's busy at dinner time, it's busy on a Sunday, you know, what are the data, what's the data tell us? So one suggestion I have would be to look at it in terms of just data, and what is the information we can gather? We also know when there's events in town, we have a much bigger problem, and that would lend itself to some temporary issues, you know, there are places where no parking is allowed, or shorter term is done because of a large scale event that's done. So I guess I'd ask the question, first of all, in the data sense, it'd be helpful to know both the places and the times of where we see the greatest problem, first of all.
That would have to come from our businesses.
Right.
My observations in the morning, first thing. Like I said, and I would ask our business, I think George would be, a good example. It seems like his daughter's business gets busy in the springtime, the large amounts of bees, the equipment stuff coming in. I've seen Amici's, the Chinese restaurant, you're looking probably about like 8 o'clock to maybe 10 o'clock. Is a good time frame, or you could say 7 to 9 o'clock. I don't know if the businesses, from what I understand, they can't dictate when their deliveries are gonna be. I think it's on a route. I'm assuming that, but from my observations again, and talking to some of the business owners, they can't dictate that. But getting that, maybe the new town administrator, when she comes in, but asks some of the business owners, I know Amici's, the bee shop, Chinese restaurant, and down towards where the barber shop's at, in the cupcake shop. Those seem to be the busiest businesses that I see that have the big trucks delivering. Maybe not so much in the evenings, like 3 to 4 or 5, but maybe that 1 to 3 p.m. seems to be another time where some of these delivery trucks. I don't know, you designate 1 or 2 spots on the south end and the north end of the town closest to those busiest business hubs.
Like a central place.
And you put your time limits on the signs, and anybody that's not delivering, and they wouldn't be able to get a ticket. As long as council approves it, that's up to this council to designate those times. But to your point, getting the data, that's gonna most likely have to come from the business owners, and when they're most likely to give delivery.
Well, it's thank you, Chief, both the delivery and when they're busiest with the customers, and when I think what I'm mostly advocating is that to solve the issue, we need to have either sources of where we are, we have information, or we need to accumulate it. And I think you're right, maybe that's something working with the chamber or with somebody to kind of gather and say, I mean, it's not complicated. When are you busiest? When is the day? That would help us with some data to understand how to think about the issue, because again, this is, having been on the council many years, many of these same conversations we've had before, tried different things to solve them. It's a legitimate concern if the town increases, it's going to be more problems. I mean, we're just limited in parking. So anyway, I think that gathering the data would be helpful.
Think about what you were saying, what are the advantages? If we were to put, like a central laser gun like right there, and then businesses, another one up here, maybe down on Main Street or whatever. If you want to have that open, if you want to look at the big picture, if you want to enforce that, had open spots, in an event of emergency, it would also be a place for a fire truck to pull in real quick. Not stop traffic with that. The last lady was used, I heard, what was it? 4,000 cars coming in the morning, 4,000 going, that's totally 8,000 cars coming back and forth and stuff. So we're talking about what, maybe 3, maybe 4 delivery trucks trying to find a spot. Some point in the day where you got 4,000 cars coming through. It doesn't sound like much, but I mean, I used to do delivery driving back in the day, and sometimes it's not easy to find a place that. I'd be more than willing to work with these businesses because I want to keep the businesses in here. I'm seeing them come and go.
Those make, when I'm talking about in the morning, they seem to be that early morning pickup. When they're picking up and having equipment delivered to the storage building downstairs early in the morning. And when the workers are picking up equipment from the storage to go out to the field that day, so. He's probably one of the earliest businesses that I see getting deliveries and pickups down at that section in here. But I know the V Shop has their busy times. I know that Amici's has their busy time with deliveries. And I know the Cupcake Shop, they have their pretty much their owner gets their deliveries and brings their supplies in herself, like Chinese restaurant, they've had to park up on what is it, Bird Street, on the corner there, just to be able to unload their stuff. And it's not supposed to be parking there, but you know, we have to give our businesses the ability to be able to get their freight out of the trucks and into the businesses, or they're not gonna be able to have a business. So we don't enforce it when it's their delivery trucks. So do it.
How about we contact the businesses, and I know they can't tell us the schedule. But if they could, you know, day, time, I know it changes. And I see this work with Doug's Maytag and Phil Dollar Store, they put out cones. And when it's through, they take the cones. And you don't see them again until they take it for the night again. 30 minutes prior to a delivery, have the business to take however many cones they need and block it up. Get the delivery, take the cones in, not on the sidewalk forever. But if you need these spots, put a cone there, have delivery come in, they leave, take them up. I hate those cones, I hate them. They get dirty, they get run over, they get bent, they're all over town. I mean, I wish we could outlaw, but you block off what you need for as long as you need it. That's a big problem, and then be responsible enough to give it up when you can.
But the business is gonna have to understand if that's the town council's wish, that it's permissible, because I've had business owners call and complain about people blocking off your space.
That's why I'm worried about any action on this. I think we talked about this a little bit last time we discussed parking, is as soon as you try to block off or make a loading zone, then the other half businesses are gonna say, well, I don't have any customer parking. I don't have any of this, you know, it's tough breaking.
Well, they'll say that until they need a delivery. I should sure be on the other foot. Well, the follow up from what you said, Alex, I do think it would be helpful to know, again, as we process it. I mean, intuitively, everybody knows already, but understanding more specifically, I think is helpful, because if we decide, I don't know, I'm just gonna say every Wednesday from 5 to 7 is busy, well, we should have a special policy for every Wednesday from 5 to 7. I'm just saying that you have to know what you're dealing with in terms of information and the issue of the deliveries. I do think we have to be as you are, bend as much as you can.
Or maybe the town makes some money, you have a permit, and the town will block off a couple spots for you if you want. Or you can just
Still take.
chance you.
Still takes manpower. James, you think Chamber could contact business called Valley Street, you can notice when there's deliveries?
You gotta
For
go
the
get,
ballpark figure, there be some times.
And maybe just some idea of how long it takes.
Business still only gets like 2 or 3 hours when they order something. It's not like a beach, where you're coming Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you drop all food.
But
Hey, any of the places that are these buildings here, or any of the building owners or whoever, the property managers, whoever, are they promising the residents that hey, you know what? We got a place here, you can park there. I mean, last time my understanding is Valley Street, Main Street, all public parking. there's no specific. No specific parking. I think some of the issues that, some of the businesses are having are resident parking their vehicles.
Yes.
Now, someone might work a midnight shift, I understand that. They might get off work at 6 in the morning, come in and park the car at 7, and cars parked there all day long, and then. So, yeah. That would be another thing, that everybody knows, it is public parking. The code idea is not a bad idea, I mean, but who's not to say that somebody's gonna come up here and say, oh, yeah, I just moved that phone up. So, you know, I wanna work with the businesses, I wanna keep them here. But, you know, it's a struggle. It seems like every time you take one step forward, it's 2 steps back.
Let's, think about some of those ideas, about local plan.
When can I talk on this? What meeting can I come and talk and have us
Public forum,
next week?
public forum.
Have rules on the books, all right? You'll have to come up with any new ideas. Look at 4662. 411-662.
I have that in my packet for words information. We've had our. On their fault.
Well, if you find out in the folder too.
Be written it down.
One thing I hear from the owners of business, they put the park in front of their business, so they involved, that's why they free up the space here and there too.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's 2 owners parking in front of their business.
Just around the new topic, and I just wanted to ask, has anybody, has the gentleman who has a rolling barber shop, has he applied for a business license in Scottsville?
Yes.
Yes.
He has I didn't know, I just happened to see both, but he's
Yeah, I
like,
think Javier took care of that.
Mhm.
He's looking for a place where he can rent a space and be a permanent fixture of this. And then would find right now that he can. It's not that much available, right? Anyhow, yes, he has a good slice. All right. Parking is over. Melody, you wanna guide us into this budget talk?
The best that I can.
Yeah.
So it looks like I'm just going off of Javier's figures here, because I wasn't involved in it. Looking from the 12/16/25 reappropriation to the end of year, we had a difference in revenue, an increase of $36,920. The differences were to my sheets here. In the revenue, we had sales tax that was routed through the county was $16,000 less than what we originally thought it would be. You know, that can be from lack of sales, can be anything. One of the things that I did find out about the sales tax and how they figure our percentage has to do with how many kids. Let me think of this. How many kids from Scottsville are enrolled in the Albemarle County school system? And that's how they figure how much we get. It doesn't make sense to me. I would think it would be a percentage, but that's what they told me. So it goes by each kid that's enrolled in the school system. And of course, we don't know how many that is, you know, we don't know how many they have. I could probably get that and have them send that to us if we need it. just to kind of figure out where we are and how they figure our money, but that's up to you guys if you want me to do that. We also had the increase from the foundation reimbursement, the 50,920 that was for the cruiser came in, went right back out. So that is also in that figure. That was our increases. The difference came down to $36,920 increase for the end of year reappropriation. And that's the 924.20 minus the 883.5 on the first page. And you'll see the increase. On our expenditure sides, we have a difference of 66,420, which includes the car, the 50,920, and then various other things that have came through that we may not have thought about. There's a payroll liabilities in here that I'm kind of not sure what that is. I'm gonna have to ask Javier on that, why he put that there, because I'm just not sure. Advertising was actually down. We had 7,000 reappropriated on 12/16/25, and it came down to only being 4,000. Same thing with the replacement of the maintenance truck. We had 25,000 set aside for it, and it was only 21. And if you look at the page that starts police BWC in-car camera, that would be the fourth page. You'll see where the 50,920 came back out for the purchase of that car. Let's see here. We had advertising, the banners for the farmers market, some things for the farmers market that was needed, actually went up a little bit. The pump maintenance, repairs and maintenance on the generator, we had some pretty large bills come in for that, but we had to do the maintenance on the generators, and it came in a lot more than what we thought that it originally was. Office security improvement, we took down. We took out the, we didn't do anything to the building for that, for last year, for that 24-25 side. Let's see here. Health went up for the officers when our health increased. So that went up to 33,000. It was 18,500 prior. Our street department, we've had a little bit street lighting. There's nothing we can do. They charge us what they charge us. And that is something that we can't put a finger on and say it's going to be the same every year. And there's some other random smaller things in there. So the difference comes down to, we have between the increase of 36,900, the decrease of 66,420, or I should say the increase in expenditures of 66,420, we have an increase in our surplus of 29,500. So that's how we're going to end the 24-25 year with $6,776 of surplus. Moving on to the 25-26, pretty much we set a 3% increase across the board. Revenues, they had it, we started at 641. We ended up with 694 at the end of the year, but that could just be a fluke, so you don't really want to carry that 694 over because you're not sure if you're gonna get the same thing next year. So we just increased the 641 too by 3%. So we're hoping for a local revenue to the town of 644,950. And just like anything, this is a gamble, it's a shot, you're just trying to come as close as you can. Pretty much where we are in the hole, and you'll see that the bottom line for this, we're not in a surplus, we're in a deficit for this next year. And that all has to do with the levy. We have 88,000 to fix the levy in there. So without that 88,000, we would have been, we would have had a surplus again this year. So unless we can figure a way around to fix that levy without having to, if we can get a grant, maybe Elizabeth is online, by the way. Elizabeth, can you turn your mic on so we can hear you?
Sure, you can hear me typing away. Hello, good evening, everybody. Yes, I was just sending you all some notes about parking that I had, but
so do you know of any type of grants that we could get to fix that levy without having to possibly dip into our LGIP or have to go to the tower to fix
that, Melody, is one of my very first things I'm actually doing even before I start officially, is to looking at grants for various things for the town. But the levy system and that is like one of the number one priorities that I have.
Do you guys have any questions for her, for Elizabeth?
No, but Supervisor Pruitt did mention something, I don't know how tangible that's gonna be at our joint meeting, right, about giving us some funding.
Yeah, and also we are still in negotiation with the tower people. Their last offer was not what we thought it should be, and we came up, I think, by Mr. Bowling, we came up with a tower proposal, sent it back to them. And they haven't,
They came back.
They came back, but they weren't happy with their tower proposal.
Yeah, and I wasn't happy with his, so I turned it over to Elizabeth because she has dealt with these tower companies in the past. And she's gonna take care of it.
Tower company, so we're gonna put the tower company thing, of course, on the agenda, we talk about it, we're gonna not take any action on the tower company until the new town administrator is in position, but she has experience, speaking.
And again, this budget can be adopted and we can reappropriate 6 months in. If we figure out that there's a grant that we can get for that levy that we can put in, we can, certainly go back and say, we got a grant for it and put it in there.
Melanie, do you remember when we applied for that FEMA grant last year? Now that we've got, I guess Albemarle and Fluvanna County were both sign off on that money going directly to them and us being the sub-grantee, when does that grant come back out again?
Is that the 599?
No, 599 is the police department.
That's
Dennis grant.
I don't know. I will have to check into that. I'm not sure.
Was it August or September?
I think it's September.
That we
I
started.
think
looking
it was
at, but
September.
We didn't have the county's commitment.
Exactly.
To get the funding. Now that we've got the county's commitment to be the pass-through for us, I'm wondering if maybe
We should apply for it again.
start looking at that, if that would allow any maintenance on the finger grant. I'm not sure. I know it would equip it, but I'm not sure about renovation type stuff.
Right.
But
Do you know, would you know on the,
I'm looking right now,
Elizabeth, on the FEMA grants?
that might be issue. Cause of the freezing still.
Yeah, that's true.
It's gonna be hard to find grants because federal levels is still having issues. With grant wise, right now, I can't find any grants available right now at federal level. Due to government freezings.
I just looked it up while you all were discussing that. FEMA ended a building resilient infrastructure in communities, a BRIC program. They canceled all applications from fiscal year 2020 to 2023. So I'm not sure what grant you all had applied for, but it indicates here that there's available FEMA dam grant programs, the high hazard potential dams. And I know, our dam is considered that. For fiscal fall 2024, they made available 185.1 million. And there's National Dam Safety Program, state assistance grants. And then in Virginia Dam Safety, Flood Prevention and Protection Assistance. Let's see, this one says, applications must be received by 4 p.m. on February 28th, 2025. So, we could, I'll check with the Army Corps of Engineers. But I think, the gentleman's correct in that there have been several changes with federal funding, over the past several months, but I will certainly look into this. And if we're too late for anything, in the next year, then we'll be ready to apply when they open back up, which I'm guessing, some of them would be about the same time, January, February of next year.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
We talked about the federal level there,
Mhm.
was the local level, and Alec brought up anything on the state side?
Did you hear that, Elizabeth?
Yeah, yes, I sure did. Sorry, I was unmuting. Virginia Dam Safety, Flood Prevention and Protection Assistance Fund state grants help dam owners in Virginia localities. And this is the one that was due by, all grants are reimbursements and require a 50% match. And this was the one, the application was due by February 28th, 2025.
That's this Elizabeth. I'm sitting in the fall, so wait on. Thank you.
I actually went last week to the Small Towns Conference in Farmville, and they were talking about funding opportunities for different things. And I have some grants that I want to look up that are specifically for small towns, for facade improvements and for various things. But I will certainly continue to look at that and see if I can find us some money.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That state level one is, every year though. So it's probably gonna be another year, we'll cut off February 26th.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know when I go back and look at where it's granted in years past. Scottsville did get something for some floodplain mapping, I think at some point.
Mhm.
But when that opens up again, I mean, it seems like national fit, Scottsville should have something every year, just requesting funds. I mean, it's an obvious floodplain here. I'm sure we're gonna be on like a photo of ham sandwich, but that's a yearly thing, so that's not a one-time plus that it is legal.
People test it up and fill them like every year.
Every year we ought to have an application of that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Right, so we also, let's see here. So that sets our proposed 25-26 budget revenue total at $801,250. We were at 883.5 prior year, but that was also, there was a $70,000 coming from the federal government. I believe that was on the car, correct? Or 50? Okay.
I know the 599 fund, it was just reapplied for that 599 grant application, and it did not increase from last year to this year. It's staying 16 is what we'll end up with.
Yep. Okay. Expenditures. Again, looks like 3% across the board. The decreased community development from 33,000, they took it down to 15,000. I'm guessing just because the budget was so far in a deficit, was trying to cut wherever we could. 8.9, it's another 3%. The building, we actually decreased our expenditures on the building by $2,000. Police. We're actually up a little bit more than the 3% in the police department just because of bringing on the new officer and setting, you know, the pay scale for the new officer. Town planning, we had $250 set prior, and it just took it down to 0, just to make sure that, you know, trying to save wherever we could. Administrative, again, over 3%. I mean, that's pretty much where we're gonna land. I don't know, we've tried to cut everywhere we could, you know, down through. I would say you guys take this home, take a look at it. Take a look at the chart where the proposed for the 25-26. And, you know, see what you think. I mean, it's all gonna depend on what we can do for the levy. As to how far we're either gonna be running with a deficit, or if we can get money for the levy, then we would be in a surplus.
With where we are, this has to be advertised.
We already have. Yeah, it's already been public meeting.
Are there any objections to anything anyone sees on here before building better anyways?
You know, I guess we don't want to take it in this.
And if you guys have any questions, come see me. I mean, we'll look it up, we'll figure it out. My office door is open. So
When was the last time that actually took place that, you know, took that meeting on council? 25 years ago, what?
I don't know my new face.
Been in your time, Dan? Mr. Bittside.
Well, last year we got paid nothing, but this year we doubled our salaries, so.
We still do.
We have one, let's say, one, back in our codes with health and data, but it hasn't done that. That's probably good. It's going there for free, you know, if you want to do it.
And it's so fun. I know we don't get paid.
All right, well. So, yeah, call Melody if you have any questions, he's for 8 months of free. Happy to have, those performance tonight, you know, it's on big screen. Appreciate her, with us to take on this challenge. We had another, official offer of the one that presented to her, and you know, signed the document. And there was a contract that locked out, so it's not like you need to the town, she can sign that. And make sure we get fit. And I'm not going to the cell phone tower, but more certainly all say on that right now, they, you know, you came out with big rooms and then change back and forth. And after this last proposal, they gave us, we spoke those slowly, and he's made some suggestions, so we made some changes, sent it back to them, and they don't, not people seem to be happy with that, so. We sort out and move it down somewhere else.
Mr. Mayor, the main difference, correct me, Mr. Boland basically had said we were gonna do a thing was.
Okay, last proposal was for $120,000, also $5,000 a year rental with the tenants they have on the business, and then we sent back our counter proposal for that last one was $135,000 for song, and they added each new tenant on their tower, you get $2,500 for this. And the property is ours, so they can keep property when they go away. And they're responsible for the town. If they go out of business or they make it for 36 years, and they decide won't be a tower anymore, it's not our responsibility to move it, they have to pay the tower out this way.
But then they came back to me and said, well, they still wanted to do the original, and instead of 5,000 a year, he wanted to take it down to 3,000 a year. So I said, no, you're gonna wait till July 7th until Elizabeth comes in, and then she can, because you had some concerns, correct, Elizabeth?
Yeah, thank you. Because, well, like you just pointed out, Melody, they have two different proposals. June 3rd was 5,000, and then June 9th today they said 3,000. And you know, I also concur that I think the 36-year lease, you know, the historical rates, they started at $300 to $450, and that was in the 1990s. They increased it to $600 a month in 2001, and but now they're talking about decreasing, even though the market reality is, you know, rural tower leases are higher. They're $500 to $1,200 monthly, and they're proposing rates that are below the 1990 amount, despite inflation and 5G expansion. So I don't think that there's really a reason to renegotiate, and the fact that they were trying to strong arm to provide a letter and then 10 days later basically demand a response. You know, this, you know, 10 days basically for a 36-year decision. So
But there's no interest in its power at all. I mean, we don't have any competitive bidding to go against. I mean, are they the only game in town?
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand you.
Well, I'm not sure if you know Elizabeth, but I was just wondering if there's any other interest in this, whether it would be bidding, you know, competitive bidding on.
Oh, good question. I do not know. But I plan on, you know, that conference that I went to last week, I met a lot of other town administrators and mayors and everything of obviously small towns. And I would like to reach out to them and ask them about their tower lease comparisons. Because it's also my understanding that, and I think Melody had written on one of the letters here about renting or other spaces. I think it shows that Verizon has a co-location. It says the documents that the gentleman provided me later today show Verizon sublets a space, and I'm curious, do we receive any revenue sharing?
Behind Scott's property. The other tower, over there. So it's out of our limits.
Yeah, like the lights.
Yeah, that one it is.
It's out of our city limits,
Okay,
the second tower.
okay, all right.
Right now, I think that we're getting, I want to say $2,300 or $2,400 a month. Rent. Yeah. On that tower.
Why did lump sum come down so much? Do they give a reason?
So it started out with a lump sum was like 270,000, now it's down. Last one was 120,000.
They two, probably two.
It's just the fact that they're trying to strong arm us and say,
Right.
"I'm gonna do this now." It's like, no, because I took it home and I read it over the weekend and I just didn't. I was glad that she sent the email that she did because there was just so many things that it's not adding up. So.
Right. I mean, maybe they knew the leadership was changing and there was going to be a transition. So they're trying to lock Scottsville into below market rates for 4 decades, while no one's really paying attention.
Right.
But I will explore if there's other, companies out there that are willing to negotiate or provide higher rental for those for the towers.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else, Scott? Are we voting on the budget Monday?
Yeah, that's why I wanted you guys to take the copies home and please look at them. And during the week, if there's anything that you need to change or that you would like to see change, let me know. We'll see what we can do.
Thank everybody for their attendance.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Have a good night.
Thank you. You all too.
Thank you.
Good night.